So you're probably wondering what this is, and see, I want you to pay attention to all that stringiness. You're probably wondering why you clicked on this video for polyglutamic acid, and some of you don't even know what this is. So as you can see, I'm mixing it in, and this is a Japanese food. For those of you who don't know, it's called natto. Some people have said natto, some people have said natto. It is actually natto. So this is not even popular all over Japan. It's actually more popular in the Kanto region of Japan. And the reason why is it is fermented soybeans. And if you look at the gooiness, for someone who is not familiar, it does not look appetizing at all, but it has a lot of health benefits, and it is filled with good probiotics. That is good for the gut and for the health. So you see how sticky and gooey that is? So this is related to skincare. The Japanese fermented soybeans called natto, actually, in order to make the fermentation process, there's a probiotic called Bacillus subtilis or Lactobacillus subtilis, and it makes that sticky, gooey, stringy stuff. Okay, and so when you see products, I think the Inkey list polyglutamic acid is what made it more popular, but it's actually in a lot of different skincare products already. So you don't have to spend the extra money just to get that, because there's such a little amount in the Inkey list polyglutamic acid. So this, what I want to show you is that I'm going to show you a close-up of it. It's really sticky, gooey, and stringy, but it's used as a humectant. So if you get a little bit on your fingers, which I'm going to show you, and you try to rinse it off, you could feel the sponginess of it attracting to the water molecules. So I'm going to just show you that in just a minute when I empty out this container. So normally what Japanese people do is they'll put hot mustard in here and shoyu or soy sauce. They'll even put on this stringy type of shredded, or not shredded, well, I guess it is shredded, yam that's even gooey, and put it on top of here. So normally what you do is you put it on top of the rice. So I don't know if you can see the stringiness. Can you see the stringiness? Okay. The stringiness of that in here, and then you eat it from here with the rice. Okay, now studies have been shown that people who eat a regular diet of this rarely get sick. There's a lot of health benefits to this. Now this one is from America, and I will have to say, when I looked at the ingredients, they actually added high fructose corn syrup to this, which I don't know why. My mom bought this one because it was less expensive and she wanted to try it, but after she saw the ingredients list, she said she was going to throw it away, and I said, oh, I will use this in a video. So, and normally it has the stinky smell of, people have said it smells like feet. This one is not as strong. If you get the one from Japan, where all it is the bacteria and the soybeans, it really smells of stinky. And this one doesn't smell as pungent. So for the small population of you who actually eat this, make sure it's from Japan and not from America. So here's a close-up of the empty carton. I'm gonna see that gooey stickiness here, okay? Now we're gonna add a little bit of water to it. Just a tad. Okay, so even with the water, you can actually feel, see how like now it's more fluid, but it's still really sticky, and all I did was just dab my hand in it. So a lot of skincare companies are now using this. So I'm dabbing my hand on this natto so you can see it, right? And then even if you try to rinse it, you can still kind of see that gooiness with the water. So this is water soluble and biodegradable, and actually it holds 10 times more moisture than hyaluronic acid. So I'm going to try to get as much as possible, and then I'm going to put it all over the top layer so you can kind of see. And normally I would spray the toner so you can actually see with the water mist, but I forgot it. So instead I'm going to try to spray it. And now it's covered, but usually you would want to do a mist. You can actually kind of, I don't know if you can see that, still it's holding on to the water moisture. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see this, it's slimy and slippery. It's creating a hydrating film on my skin, and that is the added benefit to this. And so it actually can increase the elasticity in the skin. So instead of the hyaluronic acid and polyglutamic acid competing against each other, they actually can be very complementary with each other. Basically, it will increase the efficacy of the humectant, the hyaluronic acid, because of the film that the polyglutamic acid creates on the skin. Okay, so here comes the pro tip. So for those of you who have very oily skin, you can just suffice with hyaluronic acid. You don't have to search out any additional products that have polyglutamic acid on there. And then for those of you who have dry, dehydrated, both dry and dehydrated skin, you will probably benefit more from the polyglutamic acid and the hyaluronic acid. The other tip is for those of you who are living in very arid climates where the hyaluronic acid can easily be evaporated, ending up dehydrating your skin more, you may want to look into products that have polyglutamic acid. So that's what we're going to be talking about next. So here's the thing with polyglutamic acid that nobody is talking about and the beauty industry really doesn't emphasize. I can understand the Inkey list, the polyglutamic acid. They named it that because it has that in there and it's something different. However, if you look at a lot of the ingredients, more products have it. It's just under a different name. It can say polyglutamic acid. It can say lactobacillus soybean ferment, lactobacillus subtilis. I mean, there's different names that go under this because it is a very good ingredient for being a humectant. So remember when I showed you the natto over here that was like really super sticky and gooey? So if you put that in a skincare ingredient and it's that sticky and gooey, nobody's gonna wanna put it on their face. So just to give you an example, what they are doing is when they add the polyglutamic acid in there as a humectant, if you notice in the ingredients, they will also add a good amount of silicones in there, such as dimethicone, cyclopentasiloxane in there to give you that smooth, velvety feel. For example, the Inkey polyglutamic acid serum, the second ingredient in there is a silicone, it's dimethicone, and then the third ingredient is butylene glycol. It's a humectant, but it's also a solvent, and so it prevents the ingredients in the product from sticking together. And you don't get down until the 9th ingredient, which is the polyglutamic acid. The second one is a more popular one, Kate Somerville's Dermal Quench Wrinkle Warrior serum that has polyglutamic acid. It is smack dab in the middle of the ingredients list. But you may want to rethink using this near a fire or while you're smoking a cigarette because the second ingredient is isobutane and the third ingredient is propane. Both are highly flammable. The next one is called It's Skin Power 10 Formula VE Effector Serum, and it's sold on Amazon. It's fairly reasonably priced, but so it does have the polyglutamic acid. It's 5th from the bottom as far as the ingredient goes. It also has the Centella Asiatica extract, which is a humectant. That's the third ingredient, is dipropylene glycol, and it's for viscosity. Which you'll see more and more of is again the silicone. So whenever you see the polyglutamic acid, because it can be very, very sticky, you're also going to see silicones in there. And once again, silicones is not necessarily a bad thing on there, but this is how the beauty industry will market one specific product. And if you are out there just for that one specific ingredient, what you may not know is there's a lot more ingredients. I'm just focusing on the ones that market that they have that in there. It's in quite a few different products in there. Now it does have vinyl dimethicone in there, and that's basically to make the product feel good on the skin. So whenever you see something that says it makes the pores smoother or the texture smoother, it's not necessarily polyglutamic acid, it is the silicones that are in there, and that's why you see a lot of primers. The first ingredients in there is silicone because it's smoothing out the skin. It is basically for humectant purposes, not really to make the pores any smaller or make them smoother necessarily. It also has hydrogenated vegetable oil. You know what I think of when I think of hydrogenated vegetable oil? Ew! Now, when you see that, it's not necessarily a bad ingredient. However, for those of you who tend to have allergens or allergies, you don't know if this is coming from soybean, you don't know if this is coming from peanut. So whenever it's very vague like that, for those of you who do have sensitivities, you may want to be careful. Now, based on several of the products that I evaluated their ingredients list, there was a nighttime serum that actually had the best ingredients list with polyglutamic acid in there, and it was called Zellen's Z Melatonin Repair Serum, and it's actually not sold in a lot of United States websites. It looks like it's coming from United Kingdom, and it's sold for $220. So it had a lot of peptides in there, and it was more to help with, their claim was to help you sleep. So again, what I'm trying to emphasize here is all the different types of products that have the polyglutamic acid. Don't just get it just for that, because there's way more silicones in there than you think to really justify just buying a product simply for the polyglutamic acid. Okay, last one that I'm going to do, and this one was $50, and this was actually an essence. It's called Giving Essence, and it has polyglutamic acid. It's the 11th ingredient in there. For those of you who have hyperpigmentation, it has a lot of brightening ingredients in there, such as mulberry extract, red algae, licorice root extract, and ellagic acid in there. It has a lot of humectants in there as well. The only thing is, one of the top ingredients in there, it has two different types of probiotic fermentation things, and for some people that can break your skin out, so please be careful. Given just the ingredients list that I read, I think this is really more for people who have dry, dehydrated skin, lacking a lot of the essential fatty acids. I think that would be more for them. For people who even have normal skin, you may want to be careful with this. So based on what I'm seeing right now, it seems like the beauty industry is adding this. This is more common in products that are for people who have dry, dehydrated skin more than for oily skin. So if you're looking for more information on dry, dehydrated skin, go ahead and check out this playlist right here. And remember, makeup is an art, skincare is a science.